It's true, I abandoned my FTMO challenge. It was only a 10k challenge and I ended up in the positives. I was up 1%, but I abandoned it, and I posted this on the community tab, and some people asked me why, and the reason why is because I'm switching over from CFDs to futures. Thinking about longevity in the trading game, and you want to be in this for a long time, you want to become a professional, you're going to want to move away from trading CFDs, which is what most prop firms trade, especially in Forex, things like FTMO and the like. They trade CFDs, contracts for difference. You want to be moving away from those and moving more towards futures, trading futures contracts. So that's what I'm doing. I'm switching over to trading with Top Step. I'll be starting my combine with them from next week. I'll be doing, haven't decided if I'm going for the 100k or the 150k yet. I'll be starting that up next week, Monday. So follow along with that. So, why CFDs are bad news? Now, before we get into it, I'll just reassure you, just because I don't believe that they're the best long-term choice doesn't mean you can't profit with them now and obviously have some success with them. I'm not saying they're bad as a whole. You can, things can work out with them, but with CFDs, there are just more forces working against you, and trading's already a difficult game, and I want to remove as much things working against me and my success as possible. Thinking long term, futures is the better choice, and here's why. Number one, with CFDs, you're not trading a centralized regulated market. It's unregulated. So with CFDs, your broker basically is your exchange. The CFD broker is actually taking the opposite side of your trade with the statistical assumption that you're going to fail, which is correct. This is what's called a conflict of interest and is not suitable for a professional who wishes to trade professionally. This is different to in futures trading, where your broker simply places your order with a centralized exchange, but they don't take the opposite side of your trade. They're just placing your order. So there's no conflict of interest. So you could think of it like this. When trading CFDs, you're playing a game where your opponent is both the referee and the player. Whereas in futures, you're playing against other relatively equal level players, and your broker is the referee and the referee only. Your broker doesn't have a stake in the game. They're not playing against you at the same time. So in this case, regulation is a good thing. CFD brokers are unregulated as a whole, and futures trading is very regulated, heavily regulated. There are clear rules, and it's beneficial for it to be regulated. As long as you follow the rules, there are no surprises, and it just makes more sense if you're a professional. The second reason I don't like CFDs is because CFD prices vary from the actual market prices. So CFD brokers, they technically simulate real market conditions. They simulate what is actually happening in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They're just simulating or copying what's going on. So you're not actually trading the real market directly. And for this reason, the prices are inaccurate. It's all a broker simulated copy of the real thing. And the reason this is a problem, especially for those of you who trade ICT concepts, is because we need to see true price. We need to see true price levels. We need the candlesticks to form correctly. We need to see those exact levels of liquidity, the exact lows, the exact highs. Basically, we require 100% accuracy to be able to trade our strategy effectively. And you can't achieve this with CFD brokers. And the algorithm, as ICT says, there's an algorithm working the markets. If that is true, we need to be working off the same price book, the same market that the algorithm is for our strategy to work. And the only way we're going to get that kind of accuracy is through a centralized exchange, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, by trading futures. You won't get this with CFDs. And the third reason is that spreads are horrible with CFDs. For my style of trading specifically, I trade the 1 minute chart. I'm scalping real quick moves. If I'm going to execute a market order, I need it to go in as close to where price actually is at the moment. I can't have a massive slip because of spreads widening or shortening unexpectedly. And this is what happens with CFD brokers. You've probably seen it yourself. You place a market order and all of a sudden your your short orders much lower than you would have wanted it, or your buy orders much higher than you would have wanted it. And yeah, that's just not sustainable long term for me. If you're going to be a professional, you need as accurate fills as possible, and this is only possible through a regulated futures exchange where the spreads are much tighter as opposed to CFDs. So those are some of the reasons why I believe that CFDs aren't a good option long term, and why you should eventually move over to trading futures. I understand that CFDs, they require less upfront capital, there's less rules, less regulations. That can be good if you're just getting started, but as you grow bigger and grow more capital and want to take this more seriously, you actually need those regulations and those rules, those higher capital requirements, in order for things to be more, I suppose, transparent and trustworthy. So yeah, sure, you can make money with CFDs. It's definitely possible. I'm not saying that you shouldn't trade them anymore. I'm just warning you that you should make plans to switch over to trading futures, and this is the reason that I've abandoned my FTMO challenge and decided to start on the good foot. I'm in the position to do so, so I will. That's why I'm switching over to Top Step to trade futures. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I've done my research and they seem like a good prop firm to go with, so that's who I've chosen. So if you're interested in watching me trade futures and take this thing full time, then like, subscribe, follow. Next week we'll be starting the Top Step Combine, and I'll be showing everything, full transparency, wins, losses. If I fail the challenge, I will tell you, and yeah, we'll get through this together. Like and subscribe, please.